Hello, and welcome to Astadia's presentation, 9 Ways Your Home May Be Safer Than Your Business Information. I'm Will Hurley, a Senior Director with Astadia, and over the next 30 minutes, Jim Jordan and I will present an effective way to familiarize non-security professionals with enterprise defense in-depth concepts. For the duration of this presentation, participants are on mute. We've set aside time at the end of the presentation for questions. Take a moment to open the chat functionality by clicking on the chat icon top right of this WebEx Event Center. Feel free to submit your questions at the chat bar at any time. Astadia has been delivering successful solutions since 1969. Our mission is to simplify and improve interactions between and among businesses and their clients. Our partners and clients are top performers in their industry. We carry numerous partner certifications and provide many of the clients identified here security consulting service. Overall, we help our clients control their brand, transform their technology, and support their customers. Defense in depth can drive organizational value. As with most enterprise practices, defense in depth concepts are complex and unfamiliar to most. If only there was an effective way to familiarize non-security professionals with defense in depth concepts. Over the next 20 minutes, Jim Jordan, one of our experienced technical architects at Astadia, will relate the familiar to the less familiar concept of enterprise defense in depth. Jim?
Thank you, Will, and thank you everyone for attending our webinar. So when one thinks of home security, generally one thinks of the keys and locks to one's house, but we all do much more than that. When one thinks of information security and the ways we can protect ourselves, well, if you're in the business, the reality is 1,000 different solutions could apply to the concept of information security as a whole. They'd all be correct. Information security is an overwhelming concept, but some basic blocking and tackling skills apply to the overall picture today. There's no one magic bullet to solve the information security problems of today. Just as keys and locks aren't enough to protect your house today, keys and locks aren't enough to secure your information data for your business either. A defense in-depth overall solution is the answer to having a well-rounded, security-focused footprint for a business environment. And the concept applies to things we all do today, just like you already do for your own home and may not even realize it. So this is 9 ways your home may be safer than your business info. So using this house versus business analogy concept, let's start from the outside and work ourselves in. So every house has a property line, right? It's the first line of defense. Let's put quotes around that. And we should use that term defense loosely at this stage. Your property line is your first line of defense. But thinking about it, it's merely just a perimeter. Nobody's going to not go in there just because you have a fence. Perhaps you have on signs that warn trespassers not to enter your property. Perhaps signs are do not enter or no trespassers allowed. Again, in the end, signs and fences may not actually stop someone from entering. These solutions are merely meant to educate at best and provide warning should one decide to enter without your approval. Now, your business IT infrastructure has a perimeter. Typically, the perimeter is the external-facing network solution separating your internal network from the external network. Your firewalls, your websites, or your remote access solutions such as Citrix or VPN. These solutions typically define your company's property line, if you would. But just as the fences around your home may have warning signs, so too do the perimeter solutions around your internal business. Perhaps messages presenting that notify one attempting logins that the solutions and access is meant for authorized personnel and business only comes up in case somebody tries to get in. But again, they're just signs. They don't stop anything. Everybody in their house, when you think of security, you think of locks. So typically the next line of defense are the locks that protect the entryways into your home. And not just your door. Your doors, your windows, your garages. There are many different entry points in a typical home. And all have locks to ensure what you have inside stays inside. You may have many different locks for many different entry points with different people having access to only what you want those people to have to your house. In a business, in IT, concept. The equivalent to locks is the access you allow user accounts into your business to access data, applications, or any solution that one deems another needing access to perform their job. In many mature businesses, in protection of one's business data, role-based access control is defined for any account. The goal is to ensure any particular user can only access the information they need based on their role and their duties, as well as ensuring one cannot access information or solutions they don't need. Separations of duties is another way to ensure that people are the locks as well. It's the concept of having more than one individual in a single task as an internal control intended to prevent fraud and error. Each person's role is that lock. Multiple locks can ensure a higher level of security is in place. And folks, let's not forget, locks and signs only keep out the honest people. Let that sink in for a bit. Next, please. All right, so how do we open the locks? Well, we're going to need keys. Of course, in a home, you've got the locks. You need your keys. Keys in a home can be the traditional metal keys that we all carry, too many of, as well as newer technologies like keypad systems that use key codes, or even newer key fob technologies where one can just press a button on a device one carries and it unlocks doors and locks. In a business, the keys that unlock your locks are the passwords we use to open our account access to the data and solutions to do our day-to-day job in support of the business. Many different solutions today are hoping to replace and or augment the traditional password. We've got biometric solutions such as palm print readers or fingerprint scanners, as well as token solutions that require you to have something, be it an ever-changing code or a physical device in your possession, along with your password. Keys are a good start, but keys, and I say that plurally, multiple keys, that change regularly are the best. It's why we enforce those change password policies that we all know and love. We change our keys often to ensure our locks are protected. Next, please. Alarm systems in your home. Many families employ alarm systems in their home to continue the protection layers in and around it. From smoke alarms to warn you of fire, to door and window sensors that warn you an entry point is open, these are the solutions used to ensure you know what's going on in your house, and they're designed to alert you if there's something to be concerned about. And outside of dealing with these issues yourself, some systems have dedicated off-site alarm system staffs whose job it is to alert you, right? Rather than you having to address it, they deal it with you. And perhaps call emergency services on your behalf should an issue occur that needs assistance. In a business, let's use the same concept regarding one's alarm system at home. Many businesses employ the exact same type of service, but specifically focus on information security solutions. You've got your event log managers for account usage metrics. You've got antivirus, anti-malware solutions to help you understand if you've got compromised machines on site. You've got IPS/IDS solutions that prevent and detect potential and real compromises. These systems identify security trouble, and perhaps you've dedicated individuals supporting each of them, and their job is to take appropriate action. In more mature organizations, however, maybe you feed all that information into a SIM solution. SIM, if anybody doesn't know, is a security incident and event management system. Solution one uses to aggregate all that data from all those different systems and bring it together so that you have a single pane of glass, so to speak. Alert kicks off that warrants attention, and perhaps you have a security operations center team, and they take action based on those alerts that they see. They are your alarm system staff. They may also be your police when trouble ensues inside. Next, please. Stranger danger. All right, anybody who has children knows this. Anybody who's been a child knows this. So a family puts together a couple different measures to ensure a defense in-depth approach and protection of their home. The one thing we teach one another, however, more important than anything we can purchase or install in our home to keep us safe and our home safe, is to verbally teach our family to be safe and aware of trouble. All right, examples are don't talk to strangers, or don't open the door for strangers. Only allow trusted sources to the keys to your house. And if any trouble's perceived, call the police. In a business, stranger danger concepts are security awareness training principles. It may sound funny to spin it that way, but it is absolutely true. Stranger danger is security awareness training. Just as you shouldn't give your keys to strangers, you most certainly shouldn't be giving your account and password to just anyone. Now, I would argue no one, but different organizations have their own security policies, and they have to adhere to what they choose. Phishing attacks via emails from untrusted sources are the easiest way hackers today use to circumvent all the barriers one puts in place to protect the business from the outside threats. Once the bad guy's in, they are in. In most cases, organizations won't know for months. Also, educating one user's base on the suspicious or questionable emails and having them know how to notify your security team is one of the better ways to mitigate these kinds of threats. It also allows your security team to police the problems so that they don't become much bigger problems in the future. Next, please. So within your walls, I like to call it the soft underbelly. Eventually, every home may need a service outside of the people living there to assist with some sort of work that no one there can do. Babysitters, plumbers, cleaners. If you're like most, you take the time to vet those different services by talking to your friends or trusted sources. Right? You want feedback on the quality of their work, but trust is also a huge part of that vetting process. If you tell me you can't trust somebody, I don't want them in my house, period. And when someone is in your house, we do what we can to ensure that person is doing what they're there to do, and we take extra precautions not to leave valuables or anything that can be easily taken by those doing whatever work we're paying them to do. We do the exact same thing for business as well, don't we? Understand, we're now within the soft underbelly of our infrastructure. This is where the trusted live, just like your family. So what do? Well, we've HR teams that vet potential new hires with background checks. We interview potential new hires on their skills and check references as well to ensure the potential employee is on the up and up. We don't just let anyone walk in and do work in our business. Third-party contractors should be no different. Many businesses' success is augmented through third parties. We may vet the contractor group based on their reputation, quiz them on the employee retention rate, dig into their capabilities to ensure they can do for us what we need them to do. However, what do the contracting companies providing your IT services follow regarding their own security management standards? Do they have any? Will they follow yours if they're not used to any? Are they as good or better than the ones your own organization insists upon? Truth is, in many, many cases, the easiest way into a business IT infrastructure may not be through the security-minded employees you've done so much to train and protect. It may be the remote contractor accounts themselves. Now, not to pick on anybody, but just ask Target. The root cause of their trouble with the compromises they had was at a compromised off-site contractor account that had access within their environment. True story. Next, please. It may seem a bit odd to bring this up regarding home, but the truth is, anywhere you go is your home, if only for a little bit or for a long while. To ensure you and your family's security, one typically chooses reputable hotels to stay in. They provide the security of the building. They keep the strangers out. They report problems to emergency services. However, just because a level of security may exist like your home, you still do your part in ensuring safety and security. Things like locking valuables to safes provided by the hotel while you're out and about, as well as ensuring you don't leave those kinds of items lying in your car either. You expect and pay a level of service for safety and security when you outsource your home, but you still have to take a level of effort to ensure security on your part as well. Now, in a business, cloud services have become a huge market for all of us in the IT industry. Many concerns with security was first brought up when it really started to kick off. The reality is that concern is always going to be there, and it should be there. Like it or not, some cloud services provide a better and more security-focused posture in protecting what it is of yours that they have been tasked to manage than that of one's own internal security solutions. If they weren't, nobody would use them. Cloud is becoming a bigger part of your environment. Cloud is your home away from home. However, just because a cloud service provider provides proven security solutions around the services you've outsourced to them, it doesn't mean there isn't a level of ownership from you. Just as you would in a hotel, you still need to understand the limitations or risks and consider covering those risks with solutions and training to ensure your business is safe. Next, please. So we do all we can to provide a level of security and safety to our house, right? Insurance is yet another defense in-depth tactic we use to ensure such things. However safe and secure we make our home, we still have to plan for the unexpected or the accidents that threaten our home. Such is the reason we have insurance in the home we own or the homes we rent. You got fire, flood, burglary. We must plan to recover should we have losses. And insurance provides us that peace of mind for our home and our family. Now, in a business, insurance is certainly not a new thing. However, cybersecurity insurance is relatively new. With the rise of security threats to one's business information and infrastructure, so too is the risk of data or service loss based on incident or compromises. Data destruction, extortion, theft, hacking, denial of services attacks are commonly covered in cybersecurity insurance policies. And it is a growing market every year based on more and more issues businesses are now having to deal with. Defense in-depth security covers many different layers in support of one's overall security posture and practice. And cyber insurance is yet another layer to protect yourself from the bad actors out there trying to steal or stop what it is you do successfully as a business. Next, please. So why do we protect? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We protect both our homes and our businesses for the exact same three reasons. We do it to protect our future, we do it to protect our assets, and we do it to ensure stability, right? Now, to follow up on all this, is this the definitive list of minimal things a family or a business organization should do to provide security? Of course not. Are there more things we could all be doing to protect our house and our businesses from the risks out there today? Absolutely. However, the Defense in-Depth Security model is a framework to address as many risks as you and your family or you and your business choose to take to protect, secure, and ultimately enable us and yourselves to succeed in our home life as well as our business goals. Thank you all very much for your time, and I'm going to pass the baton over to Will.
Thanks, Jim. So over the last 20 minutes or so, we've related defense in-depth concepts of home security. Jim and I have done this presentation a couple times, and I'm always struck at the end of it on how I feel more comfortable with my home security than a number of the organizations, business entities that are out there. And I think that's something that folks should take away. Defense in-depth strategy, drive organizational value. That's, in the end, it's not the tools alone. Fundamentally, the policies, the people, processes that drive good security. So that's the presentation. We're going to now take some questions. Hopefully you've used the chat function. And let's hear some of your first questions.
Thanks, Will, Jim. We do have a couple of questions that came in. The first one looks like they ask, which security layers do you see most companies outsourcing?
Well, in my experience with a number of the organizations I've worked with, security appliance support has been a big one, right? Your firewalls, maybe your antivirus. But a big thing that I've seen smaller companies who may not be able to pay for a security team have been outsourcing their security operations centers, right? The concept of an organization bringing in a SIM solution, working with the business partner to understand all their logging and all of the solutions they have in place already, bringing all that data together, and then watching over through that SIM solution with the quote single pane of glass to be able to react and respond and provide a level of security assurance as well as alerting to assist the client in understanding, you know, that things are good or things are not so good, and also being able to take that and provide incident response practices as well. It's a big thing that I'm seeing a lot of folks doing these days.
Those are great opportunities also to bring in, as we spoke about before, resources that are familiar, have implemented these programs before to help the organization. Next question.
Okay, another question. What are the minimum layers that a company can run?
Well, as few as you feel you're at risk at. I guess it's kind of a cop-out answer. Ultimately, it's you have to understand what your risk is. What is it you're protecting? Is how I always try to answer that. And then protecting what it is you want to be protected, and work your way out, and consider all avenues that you're concerned about the most. It's unfortunate there is no one answer. There's no right answer. It's all dependent on what it is you have, what it is you want to protect, and what it means to you as a business.
Okay. And what layers experience the most attacks?
Well, I'm gonna hang on. I'm going to give this one a tie. I mean, there's your external perimeter that everybody's whacking and attacking. You have your script kiddies out there, using their tools that they downloaded from the internet. You're always going to have that noise hitting your organization based on anything and everything they can learn, right, through the network, through the internet. But really, the biggest challenge and issue I see is the user base. It's phishing attacks. It's credential stealing. It's the users, because I mean that's the weakest link, and it's not to offend or insult anyone, but it is. You can spend millions and millions and millions of dollars preparing all of the layers that you would to protect your organization, but if I give you my password, game's over. Right? Now that person's logging in as me. I don't know it, and we may not know it for a long, long time. But what's the problems, or what's been compromised by the time we do figure it out? So user base and your external are the issues.
And the simplicity of running social attacks is it's quite amazing. As we work with some school districts, even middle schoolers have capability today with security packages that they can download off the internet to run a number of vulnerability scans, executing exploits that they see on YouTube. Again, protection is important.
I think that actually leads into the last question we have here, which is, which layers protect us from internal attacks?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Which layers protect us from internal attacks?
That's a good one. 80%, as I read in some article last month, 80% of compromises actually come from inside. And not the bad guys, but the people you trust. Policies, obviously, is something one should be enforcing, but a policy is just what you're not supposed to do. You can't make me not do it unless you know I'm not doing it. I guess to some degree, being able to monitor the access and the usage of, say, critical data that you're most interested in keeping secure would be that layer. I mean, again, it's going back into what it is that you're protecting. So right, you protect people who shouldn't be getting into something and alert when somebody who shouldn't is trying. You also should have some sort of alerting metrics that let you know that, how many times did Jim Jordan access that data that maybe he is responsible for accessing on certain times of the year, but now Jim's suddenly downloading it all of a sudden, at 2 a.m. in the morning. Being able to understand the usage of the data and who's using it is probably the best way to address that. In fact, it is the only way to address it.
Next question.
Okay. Nope, that looks like all the questions that we have for today. So
I actually see one more. Am I getting this wrong? How do you judge determine likely risk versus level of security that might be needed?
Well, that's then you do a risk analysis, right? And there's 1,000 different frameworks I could try to point you to. Ultimately, it's all about, what do you classify your risk? What is it you want to do to control that risk? What are the things that you need to do to understand what is it that's most important to us? Right? How much we need to invest, put around it is to protect that, and what's the cost of us if that gets compromised and or released to the wild? That's an internal decision based on your business model and based on your the needs of the organization. How you judge it? There's a bunch of different ways. It's really up to you as an organization.
Yeah, risk is definitely related to your organization, but levels, as was said, there are a number of standards out there to evaluate the risk that typical programs might identify, monitoring programs. But really, it comes down organization. But there are some, risks or attack vectors that are worse than others. So, any additional questions?
I don't see any in the chat function from my end. But if there are any that you've submitted that we didn't get to, we'll be sure to share our response in our follow-up email. We'll be sending that out with the recording of this event. Will, back over to you.
Sure. So I'd like to thank all the attendees today. We were pleased that you could spend some time with Astadia. As was said, there's our website. Please feel free to contact us with any additional questions that you have on your security needs, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks for attending.